One of the foundational concepts of introductory psychology can be found in the concept of personality and social psychology. These two tend to get kind of intertwined a little bit, but they are two very different types of psychology. Psychology of personality mostly deals with patterns of thoughts and behaviors that make each individual person unique. No two people are going to be exactly the same because their personality and their traits are different. Most of the early theories on personality psychology focused on personality development based on the perspective of the individual. For example, Sigmund Freud proposed that personality came to fruition when there was a conflict between the conscious and unconscious mind of the individual. But lately, testing is more quantitative, so it's based on personality traits and how those are formed, which those are consistent patterns of thought and behavior. And one of the main ways that people do that now is based on the Big Five, or also known as the five-factor model, which you can see in this graphic here. One of the best ways to remember the Big Five is through the acronym OCEAN. So at the top for O, we have openness, and then we have conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So mostly what people do is there's a set of statements or questions that are asked, and then you kind of rate your answer based on like agree, neutral, disagree, and it kind of puts you into different categories, and you can have your different kinds of scores. So just as an example, if you would look up extroversion, which is sociability, assertiveness, emotional expression, and how individuals express that. Someone who has higher scores for extroversion, those are going to be the more outgoing, warm, and they're the more adventurous types. Whereas on the opposite side of that, if someone has a lower score on extroversion, those are the more introverted. They tend to be more quiet, reserved, and withdrawn. So you kind of see the two different ends for each of those things. And then another part of that goes with social psychology, which is a little bit different from personality psychology. While personality psychology more deals with the patterns of thoughts and behaviors that make somebody unique, social psychology deals with those thoughts, beliefs, and feelings and intentions and how those are changed or made different based on the social environment or just the environment in general that an individual is in. So for example, one individual may act differently when they're with a group of their close friends versus a group of people that they work with or their bosses or that kind of thing. So social psychology really deals with the differences in those different social settings. It's more focused on situations. One of the most notorious studies that was done to cover social psychology was done by Stanley Milgram. And one of the big research questions that people were trying to figure out was to see if people would willingly inflict pain on someone else because they were told to do so by someone who is seen as an authority figure. So he conducted a study to test that theory. And what he found amongst his participants is that 2/3 of the participants in his study were willing to inflict pain on another individual, even though they had another option. They could have left the study. They didn't have to, but because someone in authority told them to, they kept going. And so, yes, those are the two of the types of psychology that are foundational concepts.